Welcome to Music with Mrs. Avery.
Take a moment to look over these 3 illustrations.
You just saw a picture of a clock, a heart, and a drum. Do you think that you can figure out what our vocabulary word is today? Take a guess and yell it out at me. If you guessed steady beat, then you are correct.
A steady beat is a rhythmic pattern that maintains the same speed throughout its duration.
Let's learn more about steady beat through this book, Buzz and Ollie's Steady Beat Adventure, written and illustrated by Donna Sloan Thorne and Marilyn Sloan Feltz. And this book was published by Sloan Publishing. Now, throughout our story, we are going to read about sounds that make a steady beat and an unsteady beat. So while we're reading, if I ask you to help me figure out if the sound is steady or unsteady, I want you to yell the answer out to me so I can hear you through the video. Buzz and Ollie went out to play. It seemed to be just a usual day. Buzz said to Ollie, "What shall we do?" To which Ollie replied, "It's all up to you." "I know," Buzz said with a smile on his face. "Why don't we go to Granddaddy's place? You know, there are so many things to do. We can hammer a nail or tighten a screw." "Okay," said Ollie, "I'm ready to go. Grandmother will be so surprised, you know. Uncle Sylvester can take us in his big black car. Where we're going will be very far." While they were traveling, the rain started down. It hit the rooftop with a very loud sound. The drops hit the window with a strong, steady beat. Ollie kept time with her hands and her feet. "The rain makes music," Buzz said with glee. "I want to keep time all over me." The windshield wipers got wet, so the wipers started going, and now the beat was really flowing. Soon a new sound was added to the beat. A thumpity thump was under their feet. The sound wasn't steady. Somehow it was wrong. It just didn't fit together with their song. So they turned the windshield wipers on when it started to rain, and the windshield wipers went swish, 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 swish. Was that a steady beat or an unsteady beat? That's right, it was steady. But then they felt a thumpity thump underneath their wheel. I wonder what that would be. Uncle Sylvester stopped because the tire was flat. He said, "A man at the station will have to help me with that." And that thumpity thump was an unsteady beat. While waiting at the station, Buzz saw lots of things. There were tires and bolts and plugs and rings. When the tire was fixed, they went on their way. The sun was out, the rain didn't stay. As they arrived at the house, they were greeted with a grin. Granddaddy told them, "Come in, come in." Their tummies were growling. They were ready to eat. They sat at the table and heard another steady beat. Up on the wall with a tick and a tock was the steady beat of Grandmother's clock. Wow, do you have a clock at your house that makes a steady tick, tock, beat? Just like the rain, the music had come. With the beat of the clock, Ollie wanted to hum. Joining the clock was the faucet at the sink. The steady drops of water dripped with a plink. In this story, is the water dripping from the faucet steady or unsteady? You're right, it's steady. Uncle Sylvester sat down in an old rocking chair. He rocked back and forth, and the beat was still there. So how about Uncle Sylvester rocking in the rocking chair? Is that steady or unsteady? That's right, it's steady. When the meal was over, they went to the shed to watch Granddaddy hammer, because that's what he said. They watched him hammer and make things that were neat. Every time that he hammered, they heard the same beat. So when Granddaddy hammered, was it steady or unsteady? That's right, he hammered with a steady beat. After they watched Granddaddy for a while, he put down his hammer and said with a smile, "You stood there and watched me your lesson to learn, and now it's time that you each have a turn." They picked up the hammers, one red and one blue. They looked at Granddaddy and said, "Now what do we do?" He showed them how to hold the hammer in their hand, how to place the nail, and even how to stand. He gave them a nail and a small piece of wood. He told them to hammer it in if they could. When the hammering was finished, they decided to play inside the house for the rest of the day. Grandmother fixed dinner, and when they were through, she said, "Buzz and Ollie, what do you want to do?" "We're really quite tired," said Ollie with a yawn. "When we find Uncle Sylvester, we need to be gone." They saw him outside by the door to the shed. He could tell they were ready by the droops of Ollie's head. As they said goodbye and gave each a big kiss, they told Grandmother and Granddaddy, "You sure will be missed." As they drove home in the car, Buzz thought of all they had done. What a day to remember. Yeah, this was the one. As he thought about tomorrow, he said, "What will we do?" But when Ollie didn't answer, he fell asleep too. As they traveled toward home, the rain came as before. It banged on the windshield and knocked on the door. This time Buzz and Ollie didn't hear the steady beat. But Uncle Sylvester quietly whistled as the car moved down the street. The end. So now you know a little bit more about steady beat. Let's practice playing a steady beat together. I want you to sit on the ground, crisscross your legs, and get ready to pat your knees. Here we go. 1, 2, let's play. And tap, tap, tap. Now remember, when you're keeping a steady beat, you have to stay the same speed throughout the entire time you're playing. You can't get faster or slower. Are you still with me? And tap, tap, tap. Great job at home. Keep going. And tap, tap. Now repeat after me. I can keep a steady beat. One more time. I can keep a steady beat. Great job playing a steady beat with me. You kept the same speed throughout the time we played. For your activity today, you are going to go into our Seesaw classroom, and those directions are in the lesson plans, and you are going to get to record yourself chanting a steady beat. First, I want you to make sure that you listen to the recorded instructions and then practice your chanting a few times before you record and submit. I can't wait to hear your voices chanting a steady beat.